to you, ma'am, is why poisoning?
What's going on, kinfolk? Welcome back to Real Talk Thursday.
It's our first Real Talk Thursday with 3 hosts.
Oh my gosh, yes! I am 17 weeks today.
We have a junior host in training.
Serious. Oh gosh, that's going to be interesting when we try to film.
I think it's going to be totally fine.
My baby.
So we got a banger for y'all today.
Yes. So we decided that we wanted to try to start incorporating your questions. We've always wanted to do this and we never really pulled the trigger for some reason. But I did get I had somebody, actually I always have a lot of you guys asking me questions in my DMs on Instagram. So I asked her permission to use her question for today's Real Talk Thursday. And then we are going to set up an email address. The link will be in the description box for you to email us your questions so that from now on, when we come to Real Talk Thursday, we are going to present one of the questions in our email. So I am excited to present our very first Dear JERRILYN and Shanna.
Yes. And company.
Oh,
I didn't mean to tell my stomach. No, not. Hold on.
Surprise!
It's a donut.
And my voice is I was sick last week, so my voice is a little rough. I'll be coughing a little bit here and there, but I do not have the vid, so don't worry. We're good. But, all right, so if you want to see what this juicy question is, then keep on watching. So, here we go. And everything will remain anonymous, so don't worry about that, unless you want your names, I don't know why you would, but if you do, we will, but if, most people don't want to. So, anywho.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. All right, I'm going through a breakup right now, and I'm hurt. I've been with this man for about 6 years. He got married to a woman for his papers. He's living in the house with the woman when I first met him, and he said it's only business. In order for me to go and see him and spend some time with him, the woman can't be there, and I have to leave before she gets home from work. In the house, he has his own room, and she sleeps in the living room. But I still don't know what goes on in the night. I stuck with him through that. I'm going through some family issues, and I'm talking to him about it, and I realize that whenever I tell him about it, he'll act like it's not important, or he'll bring up his friend's situations to make it seem like those situations are more important than mine. And I understand everybody has problems, but as a boyfriend, I expect a better response. I wanted to get attention out of him, which I know is wrong, and I regret it deeply, but I decided to lie and say that I got poisoned. I carried that lie a little while when I came out and told him it was a lie and explained to him the reason why I did it, he still got upset, telling me he wished I would die, I'm ugly, he hates me, he doesn't want anything to do with me, he's going to tell all his friends about me. I know I was wrong, but at the same time, when I told him the lie, I realized he started to bring me out more, and he started to bring me around his friends, allowed me to talk to his family, etc. No matter how much I apologize to him, he doesn't want to accept it. He only sends me videos of people's lies to make me feel worse about myself. I just don't want him to hate me. I just want to give up on myself. He calls and talks to me now, but I know it will never be the same. I know I'm wrong. Do you think he will come back? So
I'll let you start.
So this was a question that
somebody
was posed.
out there laughing right along with me too. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm not trying to laugh at you, but
I mean, this is deep.
Woo.
This is a lot. This was a question that was posed to me directly on Instagram. So I told her, I was like, okay, I'm about to be brutally honest. So please know that there's absolutely no judgment, but I'm going to keep it real with you. She said, okay. So I told her basically that obviously lying to somebody, telling them that you've been poisoned is wrong. But the whole scenario.
Don't even look at me, cause
the whole scenario is wrong. I said using that to keep a man is wrong, but I think you're both wrong in this scenario. He claims that he's only married for the papers, but if that were the case, they would not be living together. I feel like the whole relationship is wrong. This whole relationship is toxic. I'm sorry, but like, if someone is getting married just for their papers, like, I don't knock anybody for that, to be honest, because life is hard.
I know someone personally who has done it.
Yeah, and it, you know, hey, I can't say that I wouldn't do that too if I was in that position. But if it was legitimately just for the papers, then all of the extra stuff wouldn't be a factor. You wouldn't even, I mean, maybe you would live together. No, I wouldn't live with
I don't know.
person.
Do they investigate and stuff? You know what I mean? Because
I know
I'm
that
sure
they do investigate and stuff when you get to that point. But up until that point, it's kind of like,
yeah, I don't know.
you know what I mean? But if you're in a situation where you know that this is just an arrangement, then the woman is not going to care if you're dating somebody, and you're not going to care if the woman's dating somebody. It's like just one of those things. Like, this is just our agreement. Like, we're just doing this for, you know, legal reasons. So that off jump is wrong. The whole poisoning thing, that it actually breaks my heart that someone would feel the need to go to that extreme to get attention from a man. I mean, obviously it's a deeper issue. And if you feel the need to even go to any extreme like that for a man, then there's a lot of internal emotional work that needs to be done. Because there's like, no woman should ever have to do anything to try to gain attention from any man. That's just period. So I think that she's wrong, obviously, but I think that he's wrong too. And first of all, I hate you. What did he say? I hope you die. Is that what I said? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish you would die. You're ugly. You hate. Like, what is that? That's straight toxic. Like, this man is straight toxic anyway. So, like, I pray for you, dear woman who wrote this, that he doesn't come back for your protection. Because this is unhealthy.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take it back to square one, square zero. So my thing is, there's always a thing behind the thing, right?
Right.
I say that all the time. So there's the issue, and then there's the issue behind the issue. That's the real issue, right? So we as adults cannot control anyone else's behavior. We already know that. We could wish, hope, think, pray. We could be like, ooh, this person is trifling for acting this way. They trifling for doing that. But at the end of the day, you have no control over anyone else's behavior but your own. So y'all remember way back when we did the video about red flags? So the first red flag is, first of all, I'm going to need you to cease and desist on calling him your boyfriend, because that's not what he is in any capacity whatsoever. When you knew that he was with someone for his papers or whatever the case may be, let's even take that piece of it out. The red flag to you on whether or not that story was even true should have been the fact that you're sneaking around in someone else's home. So let me be like very blunt about this. That's trifling for him and for you to be in someone else's home while they're at work, and then you have to leave before they come home and all that. Because that lets you know he has no respect for her. Right. So he definitely has no respect for you. He's looking out for himself. He's looking out for what he can get from both of y'all. And as long as he can keep up the illusion or whatever it is, because a lot of guys kind of have the mind frame, well, she knew what it was.
Right. Yep,
she knew what we all know guys who say that. She knew what it was. So there are people out there, and I'm not going to say, because this is not true of all men by any stretch, but there are people out there, men and women, who are going to go as far as you let them go. And that's when it comes back to, you have to know what you deserve for yourself, and you deserve more than that.
Way more.
Like, you definitely deserve more than that. It should never have gone farther than that, because once you learned that he was willing to disrespect someone's home to that extent, and does that mean y'all was having sex in their bed? Like, I got so many questions. That's a whole situation,
right? Because I mean, in
torn asunder. Okay,
it does say that he slept in the room and she slept in the living room, which is BS. Because I'm sorry, but I'm not. There is no house that I'm ever gonna live in where I'm sleeping in the living room.
Come on, now.
That's not happening.
Most people, I don't care what the arrangement is, if you're living with someone, more than likely y'all are having sex or doing something, because everybody has needs. You're not just gonna wake up in the night tingling and jiving and knowing that you got a fresh pair of thighs somewhere in the house that, you know, are easily accessible. So that's one. But let's just say, for whatever the reason, you decided to journey on past that point. So now y'all are in the situation. And look, I know this from, I was married, y'all know that, and I was in a long-term relationship. I would in no way, shape, or form call my long-term relationship toxic. I think it just didn't work out. But there was definitely some toxic elements in my marriage. And I will say that if you have been dealing with this guy for 6 years, you knew in the beginning, or you started to see red flags, and you just decided to ignore them along the way, because whatever it was that he was providing you, you felt like was something that you needed to keep up with, which that makes me sad too, because whatever it is that you're trying to, whatever void that you were trying to fill, you for some reason thought that that was all you could get, right, or that was all that you deserved.
That's very common.
That's super common. I mean, don't even get me started. Like, I feel like we all can fall into that trap in a lot of different ways. Yours just so happened to have disastrous results. But you felt like, okay, well, I don't want to be alone. I need companionship. This is all I can get. I'm going to rock with it. And he being whether he's maybe narcissistic, manipulative, whatever. Obviously, I don't know this dude from Adam. He exploited that. Probably is exploiting it too from the other woman, or his wife, or whomever she is. And he's just, again, like I said, he's just taking from you, taking from her, taking. And he's sitting chilling, because my other question is, while she at work and y'all in her house, what is he doing?
Right. Where's his job?
Where's his contribution to society? So that's another red flag, because we all know any able-bodied person, I don't care man or woman, need to be doing some work.
Right.
Period and point blank. Whether, if you are the home caretaker or whatever, I'm not saying that counts to me as work. But you should be putting in something to your...
Yeah, but they don't have kids.
Right, but they don't have nothing. Yeah. So it's not like he's doing
another
anything.
Big red flag that just dawned on me. So in order to get your papers, you have to be married for 2 years?
Oh, girl, I don't know.
I think it's like 2 years.
Yeah, probably.
Something like that. Then you have to go through this like extensive process, like interviews, things like that.
Because you gotta convince them that it's not.
Yes, and it really isn't that. I don't know how difficult it is. I know that I have a friend who ended up, getting her papers from her legitimate marriage, and they had to go through a lot of extensive things, and it wasn't like that difficult because it was genuine. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot more complicated if you're like legitimately not caring for each other. But they've been together for 6 years,
right?
So, first of all, why don't you have your papers?
Exactly.
Unless there was some kind of stall, which I'm sure happens a lot. So, like, have you already, like,
has he already... They say it's expensive, too. I don't know how he's trying to get it. Maybe it's not expensive if you go through marriage.
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
I'm going to have to do some research.
But if there is... like a minimal like time frame, like 2 years, if I'm correct about that, I could be very wrong, then why are y'all still together?
Right.
6 years? I know it's not 6 years. I know you don't have to be married for no 6 years.
But let me tell you what part of the story already answered that question. The fact that his butt probably don't have no money.
Right.
What's he gonna do? Where he gonna go? You up at homegirl's house chilling with somebody else and ain't doing a lick of work. Probably dropping her off at work in her car and driving her car around town using up her gas.
That's a good question. I wonder what that situation's like.
So there you go with that. Now let's move on to the poisoning. My question to you, ma'am, is why poisoning? Like that right
so
there.
That's very interesting.
Of all of the things that you could contrive to try to get someone's attention or draw someone in. Now, we're going to talk about why you even did that. I just need to know why poisoning. How did you, like, what story do you tell of how you got poisoned? And with what, pray tell? Did somebody try to poison you? Did you accidentally poison yourself? Is this like the legend of Sleepy Hollow with Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman back in 1867, where they used to slip little tinctures and stuff in the person's drink, and then they would... What are we doing with the poison? That part... First of all, he's stupid for believing you. So there's a red flag. That's the one red flag. He's dumb. And we, in 2022, year of our Lord, we're not dealing with nobody who's intellectually inferior to us. Women,
That's
okay?
real talk. That's real talk.
But I will say this to make you feel like I'm not being so judgy, because really it's not funny. I remember when I was young, I had a problem with lying. Did
you really?
Yes, I did. And I'm going to tell y'all exactly why. Because this is like me telling you, honestly, this is no shade. For y'all who are familiar with my story, I'll give everyone kind of just like a little run up. So my family was kind of, dysfunctional a little bit. And we had like some abuse in our household. Different things where, I don't know. It could be the whole... My dad could have a whole nother family on the other side of town. I don't know. Black families have been dealing with secrets and lies for ever and a day. And as a kid, the way that I coped with that, what a lot of kids do, you make up imaginary situations to try to make yourself not feel so different from everyone else dealing with these people who don't know how to act. But that doesn't just go away as you get older. So from childhood, I would retreat into my imagination and reading books and stuff like that. But as I got older, especially into like my teen years and maybe my early adult years, it turned into lying. I would just lie about things that weren't even necessary to lie about, because the thing about lying, which is really true, once you start, it's hard to stop. It's like a poison, if you will, that just gets in and kind of just like permeates everything. And I was also someone who was insecure, who sought attention, and I never lied about nothing like that, but I remember telling lies too to get attention. Now luckily I was able to grow out of that, and I had to pray out of that, and I had to have other mentors and people in my life who helped me with that. And I don't know the age of this person. Do you know if she's a younger person?
I think she might be like closer to our age. But I'm just guessing. I
don't necessarily want to say now you're too old for that, even though a part of me wants to say that. But you need to get help for that, because that is that's a trauma response.
Absolutely.
So that comes out of just like a really deep hurt and pain. And I'm just saying that to say I understand your mentality around that. But that's not healthy.
It's not healthy at all.
And if someone only loves you or pays attention to you because you have told them something bad about yourself, or they feel like they need to come to your rescue, that's not love. That's codependence, because people shouldn't just try to take care of you or be, treat you a certain way because there's something wrong with you.
Right.
They should treat you well all the time. So that is a whole nother thing. But girl, we gotta stop that.
It's just all around just a bad situation. I mean, even the fact, just thinking back, that he never, like, he doesn't take you around his friends until he found out you were poisoned.
Yeah.
He allows you to talk to his family. Like, allows me? Excuse me?
Yeah.
Like, just this whole situation is absolutely horrendously toxic.
Yeah.
And you pulling off this lie is a blessing, because maybe this is what's going to end this toxic situation and get you out of this, because this is not healthy for you. This is not healthy for him, but like, you can't worry about him. You got to just worry about yourself. Yep. Like, it is important for us to get to the root of whatever our trauma responses are. And like, I'm not going to sit here, like, I have my own set of insecurities. I've worked through so much, just like over the last, 10, 15 years, 20 years of doing all this internal work to try to figure out why I do the things that I did the things that I did, and try to overcome that so I can be a healthy partner to whoever I end up with. And like, everybody needs to be doing that work. Yeah. Because these types of situations just are completely unacceptable.
Yeah, for sure. And you have to realize that, like, the fact that you can't realize how bad it is, that you would need to send all of that to another person to help you sort through, is troubling to me. You should be able to look at that situation and realize something is off. Like, something is wrong, and I need to get help. And not the type of help that Shanna and I so lovingly provide. You need actual therapy, it sounds like. Like, you need something that is a deeper dive into, whether it's your childhood, whether it's you've gone through some other type of, trauma or something, that we don't know about, that causes you to feel desperate enough to put yourself in this type of situation and then not realize that you deserve something better, and then have the damn audacity to be trying to figure out how can you make it better for him. Like, no, girl, no. Leave him where he's at. Let him and his wife figure out their stuff. You need to figure out your own stuff, because you can't keep hurting yourself, and you can't keep allowing other people to hurt you while you are just walking out here unhealed. Right. Like, I would say, don't even try to figure out what he did and what I did, and let me go and analyze and blah, blah. Just know.
Because you're analyzing a big old
hot mess. Yeah. Poo. Yeah, you don't need to dig through the poo to see is there corn in the poo? There's a bean. Right. What caused the poo? Walk away from the poo, girl.
Walk away from the poo.
Like, you don't need to be in the sewer. Climb out the sewer. We know what's in the sewer. It don't matter how it got there. It don't matter where it came from. Climb out, honey, to the sun, to the fresh air. Get some woosah. Take it to Jesus. But I feel like in this situation, you probably need a little bit more than prayer and fasting, even though prayer and fasting works. I'm not trying to say that it doesn't work, but God gave us people who are talented in therapy, I think, for a reason. And there are, people that you can go to that have therapy from a Christian perspective. Yeah. There are people that you can go to.
A majority of my healing has been from like spiritual intercession. So it's been it's been like a therapy session, but they tap in to what God is specifically saying to them. And a lot of times, like, you don't even have to say anything in these sessions, and they'll like bring stuff up that they feel like the Lord is prompting them, and then just be like, is that something that resonates with you? And like, it's powerful, but like, you have to realize how beautiful and wonderful you are. Because, like, I mean, there's levels to insecurity, and like, this is extreme. Yeah, this is extreme, and like, my heart really cries for you, because like, I can't imagine like having to go to this type of extreme for the attention of any man.
Yeah.
Even at my most insecure years. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, acting out is probably the most extreme that I've, like, getting an attitude, or, you know, that's probably about the most extreme I've ever gotten. So I can't imagine, you know, faking a poisoning. You know what I mean? Like, it's really serious. And I know we're, like, joking and stuff, but, like, it really is serious. And you really do need to get help and have someone help to guide you, walk you through, just experience by experience, because a lot of our traumas, if not all, are rooted in childhood, because we wouldn't be, I mean, you can be the most perfect parent and you're always going to do some type of damage, not because you're trying to, but because we are complex human beings. We all have different needs, and you don't know, the kid doesn't even know really how it needs to be loved and all that stuff. So, like, there's always going to be some type of emotional damage, some obviously worse than others, but we all have childhood issues, and a lot of our adult manifestation is rooted in that. It needs to be taken care of.
I was just telling my mom, this is kind of related but kind of unrelated, but, you know, as you go through the work of, like, trying to figure out why you are the way you are and trying to heal, sometimes different things will come to your remembrance, like, at different times. So I was doing my laundry the other day, and, you know, it's like I separate my clothes by color. So normally I would have, like, my darks and stuff like that, and then I would have, like, reds and pinks and purples. Those were always my two colors. Notice I'm not saying that I ever had whites, right? Because for the longest time, up until probably a year ago, I would never wear white or light colors.
Really?
And it's because when I was a kid, my dad used to call me Slip Rock. That was his nickname for me. And he used to say that I was clumsy. You know, as a kid, a little kid, which I don't know too many little kids that are super coordinated, but I guess there was probably a period of time in which I would knock stuff over or spill stuff, or probably as a child, just not being mindful of what I'm doing, not paying attention. But he called me that my whole life, to the point where I started telling myself, I am so clumsy. I am so clumsy. And also, I would never wear, like, a white shirt or light colored pants, because I would be like, I'm too clumsy. I know I'm going to spill food, and I don't want to be out somewhere with, you know, food spilled on my clothes. And then here within, like, the last, I think over the pandemic, you know, as everyone's wearing, like, sweats and stuff, I started wearing, like, a lot of sweatshirts and sweatpants. And my favorite combination started to be, like, the light, you know, heather gray or, like, a cream color or whatever. And I started having all this light colored laundry. So now I actually have, like, this light colored laundry that I was washing, and I'm putting my stuff away, and I'm like, when did I get all of these light colored clothes? And I started really thinking about it, and I was like, wait, I've been wearing now for the pandemic for 2 years, all these light colors. I ain't never spilled nothing on myself. I've never stained anything. Then I started thinking, when do I ever do? And then I was like, I am not clumsy. Like, why did I ever? There was no evidence, you guys. And this is why it's so important to be mindful of us as parents, as you will learn, what we say to our kids or what we allow other people to say to us. There was not a shred of evidence to support the fact that I was ever clumsy. Right. I only thought I was clumsy because someone told me that I was clumsy, and it stuck with me my whole life. Wow. Like, isn't that crazy? And I was telling my mom, I was like, why? I was even trying to have her help me to remember what was it that made him say that. And she was like, I don't even remember you ever being clumsy.
That actually is really sad.
And so it's like, I wonder, what has someone told you, or what were you told as a child that makes you feel like you're not lovable, or you'll never find, or, you know, I don't know who you are. I'm sure if you wanted Shanna too, she could share your information with me. But, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Me and Shanna look totally different, but in my opinion, we're both beautiful. But did somebody tell you that you weren't? beautiful because you look a certain way or because you're a certain weight. I think you mentioned that he told her that she was fat and ugly,
which clearly is just narcissist.
Yeah, that's to minimize what he's done to you, but there was something in you that believed that, and I just wonder if it's because someone said something to you growing up that stuck with you, and words have residue.
They do. And even further than that, deeper than that, there is something that happened or some type of behavior, or maybe things were told to you when you were younger that you believed to even have you accept a married man in the first place, regardless of whether it was a situation or not. Because obviously, based on the information that you gave us, it is more than what he says it is because of the sneaking around. So the fact that you even felt like that's what you feel like that's all you could get, or what you deserve, or there's something it's not about him and how great you thought he was, or whatever, because there are so many great guys out there. There really are. There's something about you deep internally that believed that this guy who you feel like was really great for whatever reason, who is married, was all you could get.
Yeah. Because
there's no excuse to even involve yourself in that mess, because that's like walking into the poo expecting not to get poo on your shoes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't...
You step into it on purpose, and then you wonder, why does this stink?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a big old stinky mess. And you deserve fresh. You deserve clean. You deserve unattached.
Yes. All of the above. So, I was married, and then I had a long-term relationship with my son's father. And when we started dating, I was married, right? So it's like, I'm telling you this because, like, is JERRILYN a hypocrite? But I'm telling you this to say, when I look back, because at that time when we started dating, I was still like in my early 20s. I was like maybe 24, 25. And knowing what I know now, even though the situation was totally different for one, we did not live together, my husband and I. We were just going through the court part of it. It just was dragging out, but we were fully separated and all of that. But even still, I say now, I would never do that again. And I wish that, even for the sake of what I feel like my son's dad deserved, I wish I would have waited until we were totally, like, legally not married, just because I feel like there's just a level with that I feel like shouldn't be crossed. Because I know now, at the age I'm at, if someone who was in my same situation at the time and was like, I'm still married, but I'll be like, nah.
Right.
Nope. Absolutely not. I like to say I just didn't know any better because I was young, but that's definitely not what it was. I just was lonely, and I was hurting, and I was broken, and my son's father was just such a comforting person that it just, to me, there was no value in waiting. I had lost all respect for my ex, and when you don't respect another person, you do disrespectful things, right? Mm-hmm. Not that I owed him anything at all, but I owed myself the respect of the vows of our marriage, if you will, as like a Christian person who does not take that stuff lightly. But there was, hurt people, do bad, or not even necessarily bad things, but not everything is in our benefit. Even in the Bible, it says that not everything is sin, but not everything is good for us either. So sometimes you just have to weigh out, if I do this, is this going to at all put me closer to my purpose in life, my goal in life? Is this going to help me to become a better person? Is this going to get my family to where they need to be. And you got to like really ask yourself that, like, if we could rewind time to where your mind was at the beginning of this, I just wonder if you would ask yourself that question, like, what could I lose? Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like that's one thing when you're young, you don't think about that. But as you get older, it's like, wait, if I do this, what could I lose? Yeah. What could I risk by involving myself with this type of behavior or this situation or whatever? So, yeah. Sorry if that was a tangent, but
it wasn't. Because it's true. I mean, I even think about when I was married for like 2 seconds. And when I moved out of the house. And he wanted us to just stay married. And like, I would have still had, full benefits health insurance. And there was a lot of benefits for me. Even for me, if we were just to have stayed married for a while and not like. But I was so anxious to cut it because of that. Like, there's just something.
What was his reasoning for wanting to stay married, do you think?
What was it?
Did he ever say?
I mean, it wasn't a financial, because we had it.
Because men usually don't. Usually, that just seems odd to me.
He just wasn't in a rush until he wanted to sell the house. But I was like pushing, because like there's a spiritual tie. Like, it feels heavy. Well, it felt heavy for me because like marriage was such a big deal for me, and he betrayed me so deep that I was just like, get me out of this. Like, I need to get out of this. And I knew that I wouldn't be able to move on. Like, I couldn't even really begin my healing until after the papers were, like, until the divorce was final. I knew it was only going to be at that point that I could really begin my healing. Even though I was out of the house, we weren't talking, like, none of that. Like, I still, for me, it was like, I don't know, it was just a psychological thing, I guess. Yeah. But I needed that to be finalized before I could fully move forward. Yeah. So that's not a tangent at all. I think that's very valid, and I just think that's really important for anybody out there who is even. I mean, I've met a guy who claimed he was separated, and like, you think in your head in those situations. But I was also in my early 20s too. That, well, he is separated. Well, they're not together, and it seems innocent, but it is not.
And a lot of times we don't think about the fact that person might be lying.
They might be lying, and he was actually.
Like, they just might be, because people are usually very self-serving. Yes. They're going to do whatever in the moment to get whatever it is that they want. And if they see some pretty girl walking by that's willing to entertain them, they're going to say and do whatever they can to get what they want. And we talked about this a little bit in a video that we have just decided before now will go unpublished. But there is something to, and of course we're going to say men because we're women, so we're seeing from our perspective, but I'm sure there are women that do this too, where people will lie to you, drag you on, lead you on, tell you whatever. And then all of a sudden when you're in the situation, oh, now you're fat, ugly. Wait a minute, where was all that energy when you was trying to bring homegirl up into your wife's house? But now all of a sudden, and I know so many guys, some that I know and love, that do that. It's like they entertain and they lead people on, and I'm like, you done led this person on. You got her bouncing up and down on it and everything else. But now all of a sudden you dogging her out and you talking about how she ain't this and she fat and all this. It's like, where are the standards at, people? Where is the decency? Let's just treat people right.
That's just pure evil, in my opinion.
Manners,
in my opinion.
But that is a whole tangent. But yeah, you have to be. I wouldn't necessarily say anytime you come across a guy, like, just be like, don't do that. We don't want to become, embittered or anything like that. But always be in a mode of kind of like, they say dating is like a job interview.
For sure.
You're getting to know that person to know, is this going to work for what it is that I'm trying to do. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be bad. Even if they're good people may still not supposed to be the person that is supposed to be in your life.
Right.
You got to figure out if y'all are going in the same direction, if y'all have the same goals, if y'all have the same thoughts on blah, 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 because we get caught up with, I mean, they seemed like a good person.
Right. But see, a good guy, like, there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, I know you say this is just for the paper. I'm going to let you work that situation out. And then whenever that gets worked out, let me know.
Exactly.
A good guy
exactly
will understand and respect that.
Yes.
A
absolutely.
bad guy will probably cuss you out and tell you you're ugly anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, like, there's nothing wrong if you meet someone who is or getting a divorce or whatever. Mm-hmm. Hey, like, I really want to get to know you because I like you, but I don't feel comfortable in this situation, so let me know.
That's a line that I'm not willing to cross. Yeah. And any person who does not respect your boundaries, that right there is a red flag for one. And ladies, don't forget, when you see a man is willing to disrespect another person, it is a matter of time. Do not fool yourself to think, well, maybe you're different, or maybe it's because, or, well, maybe if do not try to justify that crap. Yeah. If you know that a guy is doing whatever he's doing, or there's a situation and you kind of like not sure about it, then you know that there's another person out there whose feelings are involved just like yours. Nobody deserves to be hurt, or no one deserves to be played with. And sometimes we can eliminate some of that by not putting ourselves into the equation. Absolutely. Like, don't give somebody a chance to do wrong by someone else.
Because people will treat you how you allow them to. And unfortunately, I'm guilty myself of allowing people to treat me in ways that I don't deserve. But it's up to us to put our foot down and draw the line in the sand.
Yeah. So I think we have probably, hopefully, answered this question for you from any and all angles, but the final crux of it all, honey, get to know Jesus if you can. You know, pray, watch church online, go to church, get people who are actually walking out the type of life that you feel like you may want, or you can see like the fruit of God in their life, so to speak, and get partnered up with some people that you can talk to when you get lonely, when it's hard to go on, or when you need to tell somebody stuff about yourself that you don't want to be judged, or you're afraid, well, will anyone love me if they knew this? You need to get some other people around you that you can be safe with to talk through your feelings and stuff until you're strong enough to be in a relationship. Because at this point, you need to be by yourself for a while. Sure. You shouldn't even try to be in a relationship at all until you've worked through some of the pain and hurt and some of the broken places that you still have. It's probably not going to be safe for you to try to entertain a relationship.
Yeah, one of the books that I read in my younger years when I was beginning this self-healing journey, self-awareness journey, was by Michelle McKinney Hammond. It is called Secrets of an Irresistible Woman. And initially it's such a good book. Oh my gosh.
That sounds interesting.
When I bought the book, I was just like, ooh, I'm going to get me a man. How am I going to get me a man? And like the whole book is basically about how you as a woman need to have all your stuff in order, just emotionally, mentally, spiritually, like all that stuff in order. And then the man will come. You will attract the right type of man for you. And that book literally changed my entire perspective about relationships. It's not about that person and what they can do for you. It's developing within yourself, healing, getting your stuff together, getting your ducks in a row, your T's crossed, your I's dotted, and getting yourself into a place where you don't feel desperate.
Yeah. Without
a man. You know what I mean? Like now I'm at a place where I don't want a relationship. Like if the Lord ends up bringing me an amazing man, I'll still be a little bit hesitant. but I'm not in a place where I don't need it. Do I desire it? not right now, but like deep down, yes. But I don't need it. I don't need it. And I think that's so important, because when you don't feel that desperation, that need for a partner, then you're not willing to accept just anything.
Yeah.
You are so much more choosy. And you don't, and then if you do end up in a situation, you recognize when it's not right for you and you're willing to walk away. I think when you're in that feeling, that when you feel desperate and you feel like, I need this person, then you put up with so much crap.
Yeah.
And then they treat you like garbage and you accept it. And then like, it's really not at that point, and I'm guilty of this in past relationships, it's not really their fault anymore, because you allowed it. You allowed it. You have to be strong enough. You have to be strong enough, more comfortable enough in yourself, confident enough in yourself to recognize when something is no longer suited for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's just really important. All that self-healing is just so important. So I really recommend that book for any of you out there who are just still, you know, don't have their husband, or still looking for their Boaz, as they say.
I feel like I'm at a point where, because I have 3 kids, as you guys know, I'm not 100% sure if I have enough bandwidth in my life right now to share any of my energy with another person. I thought that maybe I wanted a relationship, but my kids are like preteen, teenage age right now. And for those of y'all that have kids, that is an age where your kids need you a ton. And so I think I'm just chilling right now, because I noticed that my kids need me a lot, and it's really hard to blend families anytime you're trying to do that. So I'm just choosing to not do that right now. And I feel like it's probably the best choice for me. I've just kind of came to this decision recently because I've been single, but we've been in a pandemic. It's like, you know, it's kind of just happened by default because there hasn't been a whole lot of opportunity to do anything. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't feel like I'm ready. There's even still some things in my personal life as I'm discovering more about myself that I'm like, I really want to work on that. Yeah. I am kind of like I'm going to drop you before I give you a chance to do anything type of person. And I want to work on that too, because no one's ever going to be able to do anything perfectly. And I don't want to just run away, you know, anytime someone doesn't live up to whatever my standard is. But I feel like I still have a lot of work, and I've got a lot going on, and I'm in school, and it's a whole lot. So I'm like, you know what? Someone of y'all told me some years ago, you should wait until your kids are out the house. And at the time I was like, curse you for saying that. And I reject that because I still got my youngest is only 10, for goodness sake. So I'm like, that's still a lot of years. But the more I think about it, right, the more I'm like, that may not be such a bad idea. So I don't know. We'll see. I think it's still being like a super fun journey for us at this point, and I think our family is in a good place, and I'm not wanting to disturb our groove right now. So yeah. And then we're gonna have another little person in the mix, and I know Kayla is gonna want to babysit because she's been asking me about babysitting, but I don't have any friend. We don't have anyone with a baby. So you guys, we're gonna share the email address that we're gonna create, that Shanna's going to put in the wherever it goes description box. So if you have any questions that you want us to answer, I know a lot of you reach out to me personally, but if you want us to answer these questions on Real Talk Thursday, we would love to do that. Yeah. This was really great. This was fun. Yeah. So thank you. You know who you are, who wrote that letter and gave me permission to use it for this video. We really appreciate it, and we hope that we helped. Yes. So and love_JERRILYN is my name on Instagram. Yes. Maybe we'll even do, because we had talked about doing an IG live. Yeah. And I think we only ever did one. So that would be fun too, to answer some questions in real time. But y'all may get some curse words. You will definitely get some when you're live, you can't edit the curse words out. And we don't always catch ourselves fast enough. So But thank you guys for watching.
Yes, if you like this
was
video,
really
give us
fun.
a thumbs up.
Yes.
Comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next Real Talk Thursday.
Peace.